So I heard you want to do Diana. Well, I just did about 80 hours of it in the last 5 days. Let me tell you all about it. Now, I know Diana has just ended, but I feel like there are no decent guides to Diana, and I want to give you guys all the information, all the tips and tricks. So I'm making this guide. I know this is going to be useful for the next Diana, so can't wait. And before you guys ask, or you're here just to know how much money Diana makes with a full max setup, well, it makes over 30 million coins an hour. Throughout the entire 80 hours, I was making 27 million coins, but my RNG was not the best, as you'll see in the stats in the later part of the video. But if I was getting average RNG, I was expected to make over 30 million coins. Why is my Jerry? What the hell? I'm sorry, but what are you doing? Okay. What are you looking at? Why are you walking? What? You're not supposed to walk. What are you seeing? Huh. That's a new feature, I guess. Well, that's gonna make for a great background. For those who are interested, there's gonna be timestamps to everything that I'm gonna be talking about in this video. So, let's begin with tips and tricks. Now, I know all of you know how Diana works. I'm here to just kind of give you some tips on, how you can be a little bit more efficient at doing Diana. Now, no, every one of you probably knows that, you should be walking and strafing sideways in a circle when fighting Diana mobs. If you, oh, you don't circle around the Minotaurs to avoid the well, if axes block your hits, and if you wanna kill them faster, walk around the axes. Now, for our next tip, this goes to Gaia constructs. Don't have thorns on your armor. For those who are not aware of the mechanic, the way Gaias work, they only take damage every 8 hits, and a lot of the times, that thorns proc takes away the hit that you're supposed to deal damage, that you're gonna deal damage with, right? So, don't have thorns. Yeah, sometimes it works in your favor. Most of the times it doesn't. So just have them off. Now, for another tip, please start using gyro. If you can afford this item, it is ridiculously good. Okay, it costs 600 mana, yes, but overflow mana exists, and also with a full Necron set, you should be able to have enough mana to cast this. It is amazing. I cannot tell you how much time it saves fighting the champions and inquisitors. It is great. Next, start using overflow mana. Yeah, it is a little sulfur intensive, but trust me, I was able to run the full Necron armor set without ever running out of mana. Well, yeah, okay, I ran out of mana like 3 times throughout 80 hours of me playing Diana, just because I had overflow mana. It is absolutely amazing. I burned about 20,000 soul flow in 80 hours. That's like nothing, trust me. Have the supercell on, and with me spamming gyro. Now, another tip, yeah, Tux's play is good. It doesn't deal more damage if you have perfect Jaspers though, and I really do recommend running full Necron or 3/4 of it. Trust me, you will never die to Jaius ever again. It is amazing. And the fourth tip is have 2 Daedalus axes. The mythological creatures are weird, and for some reason admins made that your enchantments like Fire Aspect, Venomous, and Thunderlord don't affect the mob. So Opha in this one single case actually deals more DPS than normal enchants. I only use the Opha Axe for the stronger creatures like champions and inquisitors. I get them low to where I can finish the kill off with my Chimera Axe, of course, because of looting and the magic find. So it makes sense to use this to kill, but to get them low, you can use the Opha Axe. It speeds the kills a little bit. So these are pretty much like all the little tips to give you. Now, let's get to the interesting part, which is pet rules. Yes. So those who are not aware, Inquisitor, the Minotaur, and the Champion, and the Minos Hunter, of course, they count as zombies. So now you can set up rules to equip a specific pet after killing a zombie to, gain that pet effects. So when we're talking about killing let's say an Inquisitor, I can swap to my Golden Dragon to get the most magic find. And it makes a lot of sense. The problem is that it's a pretty big problem. If I went ahead and went to the graveyard here and I had my rule, auto pet rule, to have my Golden Dragon whenever I kill a zombie. Now look at the Daedalus tag. Daedalus Axe. It gives me 30.6 magic find from the Griffin, right? And if I have a Golden Dragon, my Daedalus Axe gives me 62 magic find, right? So it's over double. So what if I have my Griffin pet and I'm fighting the mob and I kill the Inquisitor, let's say, right? I, for some reason, only get 206 magic find, and well, that doesn't make much sense, right? Because now I open up my magic find menu and I have 233. So what's the problem? So I get the pet stats, but I don't get the pet stats on my Daedalus Axe, and it still keeps the Griffin stats on the kill. And that is it's a bug. That's how pet stacking exists in the game, right? So how to fix this, right? Well, we're gonna use pet stacking to fix the bug caused by pet stacking. The way we do this is we tag ourselves into combat by using an explosive arrow, right? So let's say I'm fighting my Inquisitor, I have my Griffin out, I get it low to where a couple million health. I go away from it, I swap to my Sorrow set, and then I take out my bow and I shoot an arrow, move away from the explosion rate from the arrow so it doesn't hit me. It touches the ground, and the explosive arrow that you buy from the special arrows, it hits me, right? Now I'm talking about these specific arrows, explosive arrows. So the whole combo is you have your Golden Dragon. Whenever you swap the Sorrow, you shoot the arrow and you hold your Daedalus Axe, and then you get hit by the explosive arrow. Now what this does is it copies the stats of the Golden Dragon onto the Daedalus Axe. Now if you look at it, I have 269 magic find. So we're essentially using a problem caused by pet stacking to fix pet stacking. But also at the end of all the things, we're using a Black Cat to give a little bit more magic find, because if you're having about 250 magic find, right, our Golden Dragon only gives us 34. So because Black Cat buffs all of your magic find by 15%, if you have 250 and you add 15% on top of that, that is a lot more than 34. Well, not a lot more, it's 45, right? So you get like 10 extra magic find in there. So that is the whole idea. Very important thing to notice. Once you do this whole pet stacking thing, and now if you feel bad about pet stacking, right, you're like, oh, this is bug abuse. Well, the bug is caused, it is a bug, right? There's no way around it. A bug causes you to have a lot less magic find than you should, about 30, if you have Chimera on your Daedalus Axe. So if you feel bad about pet stacking, you can just make it, instead of the Black Cat, switch to the Golden Dragon at the end, and essentially you pet stack Golden Dragon stats onto your Daedalus Axe, and then you kill the mob and it swaps to your Golden Dragon. Essentially you're just fixing a bug with a bug, right? I'm sorry, but this is the correct way to do it. A very important thing to notice: once you do hit yourself with that arrow, you need to hold your Daedalus Axe when it hits you, and now you cannot swap off your Daedalus Axe. You have to run at the Inquisitor with full Sorrow armor with your Daedalus Axe in your hand, and you cannot switch off it until you kill the Inquisitor or the Minotaur, or if you're doing this on every mob, which I would not advise, don't switch off, because it will update the axe and you will not have the Golden Dragon magic find on your axe, right? Very important. So what are the pet rules? Very important, right? Whenever you swap to your Sorrow, especially Golden Dragon, then whenever you kill a zombie, swap to a Black Cat. Or if you don't want to bug abuse pet stacking, because we are actually pet stacking in this case. Swap the golden dragon. Whenever you dig up a griffin boar, swap to your griffin. Whenever you enter combat, you equip a griffin pet unless you have that black cat, or if you're not using the black cat pet rule, unless you have a golden dragon, right? A lot to take in, but you get used to it, and it gives you a lot of magic find. Now, magic find doesn't equal you actually getting the jobs, as you'll see later in the video. So, just wanted to teach you this. This will most likely get fixed. Hopefully, it gets fixed with another update, because that is how Blaze pet stacking exists, and I'm surely admins will fix it, right? But they won't make a bug still exist for this long. But if it does get fixed, then this whole thing isn't even necessary anymore. By killing a zombie, it should copy the stats, and equipping the golden dragon, it should copy the stats of the golden dragon, essentially just fixing the problem, and we won't have to bug abuse anymore, and that's fantastic, right? So let's move on to the next stage, which is talking about gear and when should I do the event, right? So if you're really early game, don't use a griffin pet to do the event. Yeah, if you don't have better money making methods than, let's say, about 3 to 4 mil an hour, you can easily just run around. You don't even need a griffin pet, right, to dig up the burrows and just run around, collect all the feathers. Now, if you can also use a common griffin, the mob is a little bit stronger. It only spawns the menace hunter. It's still pretty easy. And if you're using an uncommon, it spawns the cats. Now, if you're playing as a mage, which I would recommend, just have an AOTD, full visor, dragon armor, run around, dig it up, and AOTD both of the cats. Very fast, very easy. You're gonna get a little bit more kills than that, a little bit more claws, because you're using an uncommon griffin. If you have that gear, use up to an uncommon one. Now, if you have a rare or an epic one, the event is never worth doing. Trust me. There's no point unless you need claws and you're an Iron Man, but I still don't see why, even if you need, why would you need the claws in the first place? You shouldn't be going for the talisman unless you have the golden, the legendary griffin. And if you have decent gear, do the legendary one. Super profitable. I think it's pretty fun. And the gear that I would say you easily can kill inquisitors with is full shadow assassin / necron, and an emerald blade with maybe 3 to 500 million coins, or a giant sword, or if you have a daedalus axe. These weapons do wonders. You could use maybe a shadow fury with Ofa, worst case, and have like another weapon with looting to swap to at the end. But I would really recommend an blade or a giant sword or a daedalus axe for the event. Now, I want to teach you, the next step is calculating your loot, or like the chances of you dropping specific things. As you know, the wiki came out and we can see the exact chances of everything, right? And inquisitors, let's say you have a 1% chance to drop a chimera book. Now, I want to teach you how good is looting, okay? Yes, looting 5 has rose up in price by a lot just because of Diana, but it's 140 million. Now, is it worth, right? A lot of people say, is looting 5 worth? Well, I'll explain the mechanics and you be the judge of that, okay? The way you calculate something, the chance of something dropping, for normal items, it is the percentage of the item dropping, right? So let's say our 1% plus the percentage of the item dropping times your magic find, which let's say if I have 250 or 262 in this case, and then I add another, the base drop percentage times my looting, right? So if I have, let's say I have looting 4 on this daedalus axe right now, I would do 1 times 0.6 and add that to the whole equation, making my percentage of dropping a chimera book for each the inquisitor. But that basically makes looting just a straight up, this is how magic find it adds. it doesn't show the magic find, right? But it adds the enchantment base drop. It adds to the base drop. So you be the judge of that. I think looting 5 is extremely worth it as long as you have the money. Now that we have that all out of the way, these are pretty much all the tips that I have and explaining all the mechanics of the drops and the event. I want to tell you some about some mods, okay? Now, I use a lot of mods for myself, but the two main ones that you want to look into are Skytells, which is a free mod. I'll leave the Discord of Skytells in the video description. You can go check them out. You download the mod. And please, if you're still not using Forge and using stuff like Bad Lion and Lunar, please stop. Get Forge. It will take you a couple hours. Yes, I know it's tedious learning all the features and stuff and learning how to use Forge, but I cannot stress enough how good it is. If I hear another person saying that I cannot run Forge and I use Lunar because of FPS or Feather Client, I am gonna hurt somebody. It is the biggest nonsense ever. You can optimize the game with mods like Patcher and you will never have FPS issues. I was able to stream on YouTube on 1080p 60 FPS on my 400 euro used like 11-year-old laptop. Okay, if I can play the game oh, you don't believe me? Oh wait, no. I have the image to show you what my setup looked like. I was running Fourth Sky, which is, for those who don't know, an animated texture pack which lags your game. I was using high render high render distance, and I was easily playing the game with over 60 FPS on a laptop. And here, I even have the picture to show for you how my setup looked back in the day. Look at it. You cannot tell me that if I can run the game with this, you can't tell me that you need Lunar to run the game on 60. Trust me. Take my word on this. Get Forge. Now that we have that out of the way, let me tell you about the mods. Now, Skytells, right? If you go to the config and you type in burrows, you get Griffin Burrow waypoints. Now, the way these waypoints work is it gives you, or let me explain the base mechanics. Whenever you're doing the Diana event, there are 7 chains that you can do, right? Now, once you dig up, or like whenever you use the shovel, it takes you to the nearest start of a chain, right? Whenever you dig that step up, whenever you use the shovel again, it takes you to the next step of that chain. Now, the way these waypoints work is because the API is public, it basically shows you all of the 7 waypoints of basically each step of each of the 7 chains. And you get 7 waypoints, right? Now, the way you do this is you go, do your Diana, hit all the 7 waypoints, and then you basically leave the game by typing /leave, which you should have a command shortcut for. Again, Skytells, and yes, these are allowed. So /leave, right? I press my numpad, I leave, and then I go back into the game. And what this does is I rejoin the lobby, it refreshes the API, giving you the 7 waypoints, which is the next step of each of those chains that you were doing, right? So basically, I had 7 waypoints, and I did 1 step of each of those waypoints, and then I swapped lobbies, and now I'm doing the 2nd step of each of those chains, and then the 3rd one, and then the 4th one, and then I repeated the process. This is basically how those waypoints work. And Skytells offers the features of these waypoints as well as SBE does the same thing. You can use this in combination. You can have both of them on because sometimes the API gets laggy, especially at the start of this Diana. It was unplayable, and yesterday as well. At the last day, at least for me, it was really laggy. This also has the burrow waypoints, and you can also it pings you whenever they're nearby burrows and stuff like that. And also there's a chat triggers module that one of my reviewers made. It's called Soupy V2, and this add-on is amazing. For those who are not aware, let's get to the mod features. But if you go to settings and you go to the events, we have our Diana event, and there's a feature that I really like in this mod that shows you the path to the nearest waypoints. It shows you the shortest path to take to hit all the waypoints in the lobby. It's so nice. You have no idea. So those are the mods that I recommend using. The last one is personal preference, but it also has waypoints, so you can just use that. But these are pretty much mods, right? And now let's get to the fun part. For those who are interested, what kind of loot can you expect from Diana for doing it for 80 hours in one election? Yeah, I pulled some degenerate hours throughout this election, I know, but my loot, right? So let's start with the ones that everyone wants to hear. Chimeras. I dropped 3 chimera books. Now, you might say that, wow, that is a lot. No, it was absolutely very disappointing. Very bad rates. I got 178 Inquisitors throughout the whole event. Sorry, actually 177. I lost 7 of them because I had a skill issue. But for killing 170 Inquisitors with a drop rate that I calculated 1 out of 25 to get a book, I got only 3 books. I got scammed. I should have gotten 6 or 7, right? Very bad luck there. Menace Relics, got lucky on those. I dropped 3 Menace Relics. I should have dropped only 2, so I got a little lucky on those. Now I got absolutely absurd 13 Daedalistics, and this is not even with me swapping to Magic Find gear. This is me just killing them with like 200 Magic Find, which is fairly average. Yeah, very lucky. I should have only gotten 9 Daedalistics, so I got lucky in those. 100 extra million that I should not have, but we lost, you know, like 400 million of the chimeras, so we still didn't get lucky. And then I got 165 Shelmets, about 150 and 100 plushies and remedies. Then when we go to enchanted gold, I got this much: 3 stacks and 20 enchanted blocks of gold, 27 enchanted blocks of iron, over 265,000 claws, 177 Inquisitors. Don't know, I'm not gonna go into details with these, but then we got 30 crowns and 24 souvenirs and 5,490 feathers. Now the dug up coins is 156 million exactly, and I killed about 12,400 mina skills. But sadly, the SBE loot tracker, it doesn't count cats as 2 mina skills, it only counts them as 1. So if I was to actually give you the mina skills that you get on your, let's say, your talisman, right? Let's say if I show you here, the talisman has a lot more kills than my loot tracker. I have 30k, but on the loot tracker it's only 24k. Well, it's because it doesn't count both of the cats. So in total I got about 15,000 kills on my Beastmaster crest, which averages I think about a little less than 200 kills an hour. We had very laggy Diana because it hasn't been elected for the longest time, so it's understandable. In a perfect, you know, scenario with no server lag and you actually being somewhat average or a little bit above average, you'll easily get 200 kills an hour. And yeah, that's pretty much all the loot. I made 20, to be exact, I mean, like, with the current market prices, I made 2,184,000,000 coins. If I was a normal profile with the current item prices, remember, current, if I sold Daedalistics when they were at their highest, when they were like 40 million each, I would have made a lot more, let me tell you. And the Griffin feathers, 140k, yeah. So these are all of the current prices. That is pretty much what you can expect for doing Diana. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, well, leave a like, maybe a subscription, and have fun playing Diana. Hopefully this helped.